yeah, there was a warrant out for Helen's arrest, hence why they were so aggressive, and it wasn't actually a civil matter.
Good evening, this is Brussels calling. We are meeting two people from Australia who have been talking to a wall for over 40 minutes trying to convince that wall that they are not soffsits. I am this wall. Walls can't argue, but they can post stamp no soffsits on any fact that the soffsits claiming is not true, so there will be proper stamping. I apologize in advance for the noise. Welcome to my channel.
Being the case that Helen and I are what they consider sovereign citizens, which is an oxymoron, right? You cannot be a sovereign citizen.
Inside the lockup in the charge room, there was a young constable in there, and she says to me, "Oh, so are you a sovereign citizen?" And I said, "No, I'm not," because I know what those two words mean. And less than an hour later, the ambulance came in to attend to my injuries, and I overheard her tell the two ambulance paramedics, "Oh, she's a sovereign citizen." So that's complete contradiction to the conversation I had with her and the answer I gave. Now I've checked the paperwork, and on the paperwork from the AVO, it says the accused is a sovereign citizen. So someone thinks I'm a sovereign citizen, but it ain't me.
They continue to, in their eyes, with what Helen has done in terms of, reconveying herself and actually detaching, cutting the umbilical cords from the system itself, so she is no longer, she is now foreign to the Australian corporation, right? Some of you guys on here might actually not understand what that means. She has copyrighted her names, and Helen is known now as Helen Mary, not Helen Mary Delaney in capital letters, right? And that's, I guess, just a little bit of that. So in terms of Helen being a reconveyed national and actually registered to an original nation of Terra Australis known as the Gumbaynggirr Nation, what they had done was invoked international law. And anyone that was participant in the abduction of Helen was in violation of the Geneva Convention, Article 31. And has committed a war crime, right?
The Geneva Convention. Geneva is in my backyard, so I'm going to travel. Sorry, serve to that area. Did you guys in Australia read that Article 31? As someone once said who I really admire, get your facts together. Here it is, Article 31 of the 1951 Convention relating to the status of refugees, non-penalization, detention and protection. Article 31 defines very clearly that member states have to respect certain rights in relation to refugees. Refugees present their presence without delay to the authorities and prove why they entered the country illegally. Everything becomes clear now. You are refugees in Australia.
We are not driving, we are travelling. You guys don't even know what yous are on about.
I need your most senior on duty.
Yeah, in terms of what I was saying, I actually lost track of where I was at.
Don't worry, the two of us are lost too.
But yeah, so myself and questioning the authorities, as an original bloodline descendant, I have the absolute right. I have the supreme right, as there is no lawful jurisdiction that stands higher than that is even valid on this continent, except the LORE.
The problem for the system is that I am fairly schooled or schooled enough to know the law, the proper LAW and LORE basics, and they don't like it when I push back. So that's where the persecution now is being lumped, stacked and stacked and stacked on top of one and the other. They're all fraudulent. They're all generated in fraud. But we're interesting times ahead.
Has there been any success of these so-called sovereign citizens fighting their claims in court?
Well, despite what the websites say and despite what some people who follow this pseudo-law sovereign citizenship say, there has not been a single successful case in any jurisdiction throughout Australia. It's obvious when you think about it for a second that you can't just remove yourself from the law by some sort of putting your names in capital or declaring yourself a sovereign citizen. It just simply is, it's gobbledygook. And the courts have treated it as such time after time. But it doesn't stop the adherents, particularly in traffic matters, from making these pretty bizarre claims.
Well, nice to know it hasn't been successful so far.
Just know that anyone that's sending the negative stuff, I'm very well educated. I'm very well knowledgeable around this system. I've occupied my country now for over 12 months. In their fictitious realm, that is considered illegal camping.
Did I hear that right? Did you occupy Australia? I think it's about time for a good talk about the law as the new ruler. Also, don't forget to pay attention to the refugees as a result of your occupation. Geneva Convention Article 31, remember?
The AFP officers at Canberra, where I, did not show them any form of evidence. At the time, I had no driver's license to be even operating a driver's license, right? I understand that driving is to do with commerce also, right? So that is why I said in the video, we are not driving, we are traveling, right? Because we are allowed to travel, right? The car itself is not a car, it is a carriage. And it is operated by horsepower.
But of course, it's not a car, but a carriage. Powered by horses. What horses, if I may ask? Belgian farm horse. A Brumby. Mustang. Mechanical horses. It really shouldn't get any stupider. I consent to the publication of the following statement. What good is a Mustang under the hood if there is a donkey behind the wheel?
I guess anyone in terms of that has watched that video, if you can just consciously think that if that was me in the position where I went up to Helen's car and grabbed her window and ripped it off, right, and grabbed Helen out of the car, I would be considered a fuckwit. Sorry for the language. I would be considered an abuser, an absolute wanker, whatever you would want to call me, right? But it's okay for a police, a private employee to do this shit and get away with it.
Now if at the police check you would just show the driver's license or make yourself known, then those men wouldn't have to break windows. Although I admit I secretly enjoyed it. And should you want to break windows of cars without uniform, we couldn't even ask for your badge number.
Conducted the process of formally detaching myself from the entire GovCo system. So there's a website you can all go and research it, have a look at it.
Traveling.
They've literally just remastered their website so that you can reconvey yourself. So I went and did it.
As a free person, I do not recognise the jurisdiction you have blah 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 blah. I am travelling.
Obviously only for anyone who wants to do this, who's ready to do it, and whose
Speeding is not a crime. A crime requires an injured party.
It became necessary.
I want the Most High Supervisor.
So that's CASA.
Am I being detained?
So it's Commonwealth of Australia State
I am
Assembly.
travelling.
As in C for Charlie, A for Apple.
As a
S for
free
Sam,
person, your
A for
license
Apple,
plate taxes do not apply to me.
So,
a crime requires an injured party.
At the bottom of the video,
I
when
want
you
the
post
Most
it,
High
or the CASA
Supervisor.
website.
I am travelling.
And even if you're not
I want the Most High
if you
Supervisor.
don't go down that pathway or don't do it right now,
Am I being
it will give
detained?
you a bit of an education as to
As a
the
free
level
person,
of fraud that's going
I do
on.
not recognize the
In a very
jurisdiction. Am I
basic
being
and simplified
detained?
format, just in the descriptors. There's
I want
another
the Most High
website that I did
Supervisor.
look at many moons ago called
As a free person,
basicfraud.com.
I
That
do not
has some
recognize the
information as
jurisdiction.
well. I don't
I
know
am
whose
traveling.
website it is. I don't know the people, but it's one of
I
the
do
ones
not
I came
recognize
across.
the
It's easy
jurisdiction.
if you're very new to this to get a
As
gist
a
of.
free person,
The
I do not
CASPSA is the
recognize the
one that I have
jurisdiction. I am not
reconveyed myself
driving.
through.
I am
So that
traveling.
completely takes you out of Australia in all capital letters and puts me back in the jurisdiction of the land of Terra Australis.
Then I mean, start standing up for you, standing up for your rights, standing up for your children, standing up for the next generation. We're not here to do any harm. We're not here to cause any harm, right? And that's the that's getting more intricate within committing a crime, right? No victim, no crime. And that was basically all that was being asked. It's time to say no. It's time to stop this corruption and stand together once and for all.
Yeah, so,
No, please no, I have really had enough of this nonsense. I am completely exhausted. For those who want to experience the real action, be sure to check out the Van Baleen channel, absolutely worth watching. But before you leave, feel free to comment, like or subscribe. Thanks for watching.